Yes, guys, welcome back to the Spurs-related YouTube channel. Today, I'm on my own. I'm going to try and dissect the 3-0 win over Doncaster last night that put us into the round of 16 of the Carabao Cup, where we will now face Newcastle away at St James's Park, which in the past has been a pretty poor place for Spurs to go, certainly in the last couple of years. So we're going to try and go over it, try and go over what I thought last night. Not that I was that impressed with a lot of it, but we'll try and go over it and dissect what happened. Before we begin, if you haven't already, I expect every single one of you watching to do this. If you have not already, hit the like button. It is free to do so. It is massively important and it helps us big time. So please do that. Subscribe, also just as important. It means you'll never miss an upload if you get those notifications on as well. You'll never miss an upload from James or myself when we, as I say, as we really try and push the content this season and get out as much for you guys as possible. Right, let's get into this video then, shall we? So if I bring that up, this was obviously the two teams from last night. These are the lineups, and I will kind of pick out bit by bit. I've highlighted Demola Ajayi there in a different colour to the rest of his team, as I will pick up on him in a short while. But let's start with the back three, if you will, this triangle, this here. And I have to say, I was pretty impressed with the three of them. If I can highlight them now, I'm not sure if sort of pick them together like that. They were very good at playing out from the back last night. I'm really glad for starters that Paulinho played as the centre half. I think that was really important. You can't really keep shoehorning Archie Gray in different positions at his young age. It's not right for him, I don't think. And we saw that. I thought Gray had a pretty good game actually. I thought he was probably one of, if not a better player in the middle there. But yeah, those three I thought at the back were pretty good. Kinski made a really important save. When there was a volley. I can't remember who hit the volley, but someone on their side did. I want to say it might have been Sabara, but I'm not actually sure. But someone hit a volley and he tipped it onto the post. It's a great stop in that first half. Bear in mind, this analysis from me is coming from someone who missed. I was at the game, but managed to miss all 3 goals. So that's quite an impressive feat. But I did see the Kinski save. I did see that part. So yeah, that was a top save. I thought Danso was just good in the air. I think Danso's just a good defender. I think for that level, he's probably too good. And Paulinho, I thought had a pretty good game. Obviously scored a lovely goal, which I say I missed, but a lovely goal. Sort of with an overhead kick. Not the cleanest of overhead kicks I've ever seen in my life, but it was a nice goal to put us one ahead on about, I think, the 10-minute mark. So those three I thought had pretty solid games. Didn't have to do too much. In terms of the fullbacks, I thought both were actually pretty, if not very poor. That sounds harsh, but it's true. Porro was obviously the captain of the side. I thought too often he was playing sort of these balls in behind that just don't work, like forcing things and hoping that Tel would run onto them, or Odobert would sort of make his way over, or Bentancur was running the channels. Johnson as well. So yeah, too often those balls were being made that were sort of unnecessary and just hitting hopes really, and that in itself is disappointing. I don't think Boris had a great start to the season. I don't think he should have played last night. It was obviously great for him to captain the side, but I don't think he should have played, and I think it showed. I think he looks tired, and I don't think he was good enough. On the other side, I've spoken about Jed Spence quite a fair bit on here recently, and my frustration with him. He obviously then, I'm sure we all saw the post on Instagram about Demola Ajayi. I know it's a bit of a laugh. I know it's a bit of fun. I only think that's probably acceptable if you play well, and I thought Jed Spence was pretty poor, I have to be honest. That's just my simple kind of thing with him. I thought defensively he was okay. Going forward, I thought he was really poor. I've said that for a while. You can't go forward with him, I don't think, as a left back. I'm happy for him to play as a right back, but I think as a left back, he's not comfortable enough on that left foot to go forward. I know he drives into the centre and he's great at doing that and getting into these areas, but you need someone that can do both. And I think Udogie can do both. And I think we are a better side when Udogie plays. But let's pick up on the midfield three now. That's enough moaning about the fullbacks, who didn't have a lot to do, but I just didn't think had great games. If I pull Tel up there, these three, I thought Gray was the best of the three. I thought Gray worked hard. I don't really know what role Gray was playing. Half the time he was up here and then he was down here, and he was just everywhere. Obviously, the opposition has to be taken into account, but I thought by all accounts, Archie Gray had a pretty good game. As I said, I'm glad he played in that role in the middle because I think he needed that opportunity to do so. And so I'm pleased for him for that. Obviously, he hasn't started there since the opening day against Burnley, and I thought he played. I thought he played pretty well. In terms of Bentancur, I actually thought, and I'm a big Bentancur fan, I thought it was one of his poorer games in quite a while. I'm not sure what his sort of passing numbers were and things last night. I'll have to have a very quick look, but he was. I thought by all accounts 82% pass completion. By all accounts, that's quite low for Bentancur. And I thought we had a slightly sloppier game. I thought we were just quite sloppy as a side, to be honest, last night. But I think a lot of that came from probably him in our build up. And he's one that usually, if he's playing well, Spurs tend to be playing well, tend to be sort of dictating the game. And I think because he was sloppier, Spurs were a little bit sloppier last night. And then Xavi Simons was trying things. I'm not really sure he sort of did anything too special. A couple of little flicks around the corners and things when he was being pressed. A little few flicks and he'd get taken out, and he did that quite well. But on the whole, quite a quiet game from Xavi Simons. Only obviously played 60 minutes and came off from Bergvall at that time. So yeah, I mean, listen, as I say, it's very early days for Xavi Simons at Spurs. I've seen enough bright sparks so far that I'm excited about. But yeah, certainly. Yesterday, I don't think was his finest hour of football. I thought he was all right. I thought he was okay. Probably the biggest talking point of the game, though, for me last night was this front three, and just kind of my disappointment. I want to take Tel out of that disappointment bracket, though. Actually, I thought Tel had a decent game, as I thought he had a pretty good game against West Ham. I know it will go quite under the radar. His movement is so much better than Richarlison's, so much better. And I'm not just going to dig out Richarlison as I often do, but when you watch Richarlison come on and he's sort of walking around and Tel's moving constantly, he's running, he's dropping deep, he's trying to pick up the ball. I really like Matisse Tel, and obviously the opposition you have to take into account. That's no disrespect to them, but you have to take it into account. But I thought he had the best game of the front three. He should have scored twice. I'm not going to sit here and say he shouldn't. They were poor misses, pair of misses of the ball, I should say. But I thought his all-round game was pretty good. The other two, on the other hand, I thought were I thought were dismal, to say the least. And I don't want to dig him out, but the thing is with Johnson is he's kind of inevitable. Scored again last night, that we keep on going, and he could have had 2 assists for the Tel chances as well. So listen, as awful as his general, natural, all-round game was, he could have come out with 3 contributions out of it. So, bit of a weird one with Johnson. But I think, to be honest, right now, Johnson and Tel, for me, are my 2 left wingers, if we're going to, or Simons, if he's going to play in that role. But if Simons is going to play in the 10, it's between Johnson and Tel for me. Personally, I think Odobert is the lowest down that pecking order at the moment, in my eyes. I think Odobert's a great player, and I think he works hard, and I think he's exciting and he makes you sort of believe. But I just think he's quite sloppy. Last night, I thought he was really sloppy. I thought he was quite sloppy against Brighton. He lost the ball weakly, and we conceded to Yankuba Minte, obviously. And he sort of didn't follow that run, and so that was kind of on him, that first goal the other day. I just thought, you want him getting into, if I can draw a line, 1 second. It's the first time I've used this. So you want him not only running sort of at your fullback like there, but you want him taking it out wide. You want him taking it inside. And it just didn't feel like you got that last night, right? He was sort of picking up the ball in these sorts of areas, and that's fantastic. But he wasn't sort of going at you. When I think I look back at Mikey Moore, and I use it as an example, which is the first one I think of, when we played Alkmaar in the groups last year, and he was every time he got it, he went at you. He went at you. Odobert and Johnson, don't do that. Odobert can do that. We've seen he can do that, but he wasn't doing that last night. I think he's still a bit of a way fitness-wise. I think Tel, personally, is more ready now than Odobert. That's just my personal opinion. I'm not saying I think Tel or Odobert are a better player than each other, whatever. I'm just saying I think Tel's more ready at the moment. But yeah, that was kind of my thoughts on that. As I say, Bergvall obviously came on, was decent, got a nice assist for the Johnson goal. I thought Richarlison again was really poor when he came on. I thought his movement was dismal. I thought his actual effort was poor, very poor. So yeah, that was kind of what I thought of a pretty disappointing performance. I know they won and they're into the next round, but being 2-0 for 10, 15 minutes, it would have been lovely if they sort of cruised it 5 or 6-0. And we saw Luca Williams-Barnett for half an hour, and Juno Byfield could have got a chance to come on, and maybe Tyler Thompson. I know he played sort of quite a lot for the youth team the night before, but maybe Tyler Thompson could have come on for 20 minutes, 15 minutes as well. But a bit of a shame. In terms of the last thing I want to pick up on as well is Demola Ajayi. I thought had some sort of bright sparks. Nothing sort of too special, but I thought he had some bright sparks. He looked like a good player. Obviously, got a good reception as he came off, and I'm hoping that he has sort of a good rest of the year now at Doncaster. He's had a decent start, but a good rest of the year at Doncaster, and hopefully comes back next summer and maybe can make an impact in that first team, because we are, questioning who we've got on the wing. So maybe there's an opportunity there for him to play. But if you have enjoyed that video, then please, as I said at the start, make sure you do those 3 free favors for me. Hit the like button. It is much appreciated. Subscribe, and most importantly, so you never miss an upload, turn on the notifications down below, and then you will never, ever, as I say, miss a video posted or stream posted by me, James, or the pair of us together. If you have enjoyed it, then please do all those things. Let me know in the comments who was your man of the match last night. I would probably go with Archie Gray, but I wouldn't say there's anyone that really stood out. But let me know down below who was your man of the match. And as always, come on, you Spurs.